The comic strip Garfield is not what you think it is. Okay, yes, it is, but like, there is more behind the scenes than you originally thought. One of the main cast members of the show murdered the other, and is now currently in a life full of delusion and hatred. This is the Jon Arbuckle theory. That sounded like I'm ripping off of Alex Bale so much. Oh my god. Garfield needs no introduction. If you've watched my channel already, you've probably seen the Jon Arbuckle moveset. And as we see here, he's one of the most popular characters in media. His owner, Jon Arbuckle, is also somewhat famous like him, but there's always the weird implications about him. The fact that, okay, there's not really much weird things that we see about Jon Arbuckle, but there is a couple weird things that we see about Lyman. For those who don't know, Lyman is one of the core 4 members of the Garfield's comic strip. The owner of Odie, and one of the people who Jon would often talk to, and obviously just make comic relief whenever Garfield and him do something stupid. Now, if he's one of the core members of the show, why exactly have you not heard of him? Well, that answer comes in 1983, where Lyman mysteriously disappeared from the main strip and never returned again. He made a cameo in the 10-year anniversary strip, in the cover, and made an appearance in a 2013 newspaper strip, but that was all we left seen of Lyman. Except the Garfield show. But in the Garfield show, the writers explicitly state this was his own amateur fan theory of what was on. So, what happened to Lyman? So basically, in the series, we have no official answer. We have 11. Jim Davis, in the Garfield 20 Years and Still Kicking book, stated 10 reasons what happened to Lyman. The number 1 reason being, don't look in Jon's basement. Garfield is known as a particularly comedic strip. However, this is a bit out of its territory, isn't it? He was later asked in an interview about this question, and he simply said, I was joking about the basement thing. But so far, none of these have any actual evidence, like moved to San Francisco, opted for a career, and hotel motel things, ballooned to 270 pounds. None of these have really been backed up by any Garfield media at all. Except one. In the game, Garfield's Spooky Scavenger Hunt, Garfield goes into a haunted house in search of donuts, and when he goes into the basement, we see Lyman, chained up and missing fingers, surrounded by skulls and bones. So we can obviously assume that he got out after Garfield. Well, the game got a sequel the next year, Garfield's Spooky Scavenger Hunt 2, Donuts of Doom. In it, Garfield is kidnapped to this house, and when we open up, we see Lyman in the oven. His head disembodied. So basically, we see Lyman chained up in a basement, and then later killed by someone who ended up either luring Garfield, or just happened to get Garfield there, and then kidnapped him later. But, don't look in Jon's basement. This isn't Jon's house. Right? We see Jon Arbuckle sitting outside the house, but we learn that he will not go into the house because he is too scared. However, once you click on him, he'll end up giving you tips on how to solve some of the puzzles. Already, we could obviously just say, oh, well, maybe he went to look for the donuts and just happened to get scared and out of his wit. Well, in the second game, we do see Jon again, but this time in the shower. In the shower of the house. But why? And what other than this could possibly say, hey, this is Jon's house? In the sequel, we end up seeing a disembodied head of Liz. Obviously, this isn't Liz's real head, it's a voodoo head. However, you know Liz to be Jon's most famous crush. Why else would that be here? Furthermore, we can't just say that the supernatural obviously doesn't exist in the Garfield universe, because in one of the strips, we clearly see a ghost trying to eat the marshmallows that Garfield all ate. But then this brings up the question, why would a 2002 Flash game be supporting this theory? And why would I toss off the Garfield show as non-canon, but this is canon? Let's tell you how. We've seen this house. The Halloween strips from 1989 have always confused a lot of the readers. What is this house? What is Garfield experiencing? What happened here? Garfield is known to be an unreliable narrator. He's known to hallucinate when he's hungry or scared. And the final strip even says, imagination is a powerful tool and can shape perceptions of the present. If you look at this in a different context, we can understand what's going on here. Jon buys another house. We see this, and he's trying to set things up, as we see with the picture of him. However, he brings Garfield along with him, And we know that he takes this as that his home is abandoned. He doesn't realize that this is not his house. He hears Jon even. But of course he misconstrues it as Jon wanting some food. He ends up passing out and waking up to getting to breakfast the next morning. Jon trying to pass it off as normal. Obviously, you can say this has absolutely no backing of this, and why would Jon would do this in the first place. And you're right!